Um, Compared to the years past, everything is pretty much the same, right down to where we're talking about needing additional people, and that's really the biggest flaw that we've got in anything, all the way through. A lot of the things, or a couple of things that comes up negative is the way the building was built, and they understand that, so we don't have an issue with that. But the thing that hits us every year is the amount of employees being short.
Mark, on number 2, recommended replacing floor tiling in administrative offices. That's a second request. What, is that a safety issue, or I guess I don't understand.
It's at the back.
Page 14.
Yeah. I'd have to ask the inspector for sure exactly what his thoughts were on that. I remember him mentioning it last year.
He even made it bold, capitalized, underlined, and we're like, how does that relate to, I guess I thought a jail inspection is performed to make sure that the prisoners are safe and sound and
It's everything from the administrative offices.
yeah, and I just
to
could
the
not
lobby
understand
to-
the tile floor in the administrative offices. It just made no
Yeah,
sense.
I'll have to get a clarification on that.
That'd be great. I wanted to say, good report. I thought it was a good report. They noticed the showers were done, and you know, good report. I was kind of like, I'm hung up on this tile. Out of all that whole report, I'm hung up on a jail inspector wants tile, floor, and the administration offices redone, and that just didn't make any sense.
I'll check it.
That's all I had.
You too,
Commissioner,
Nothing?
good job.
Okay,
Thanks, Mark.
thank you.
Okay, Scott Wagner, Fry Lakes well inspection, among other things.
Yeah, right. Not to bring you worse news, but we did a well test out of the actual drop pipe that goes in the casing of the well to determine whether the well was satisfactory or not, since we've had good and bad tests. It did come back bad. So there must be a hole somewhere in that steel cased well that's allowing groundwater or dirt to come in there and contaminating the sample. And so got 3 possibilities that we can do with that. We can leave the well there, allow the association or county to use that well for watering the lawn or pumping water into the pond or some other type of procedure besides washing hands and drinking. We can cap the well off, abandon it properly under state law, and not have any water out at the park, or you could drill another well to provide water out there. So I thought my recommendation would maybe in another couple meetings, bring the Tri-Lakes board, some members in to talk about those 3 choices, get the information we need on those 3 choices, some numbers, some quotes, and things like that, and see what the best decision would be for that. What's their desire for the park, and as long as what you think would be proper for financially out there for those people. But that's where we're at now with that. We're just going to keep the water shut off for accessibility until we make a further decision on
I'm not sure that this is a decision for the Tri Lakes board, because the park is actually a county park.
that. Yeah, that's up to you guys.
Um,
I just didn't know if we could make that decision unilaterally, since they kind of take care of it sometimes.
As a county park, can we close it?
The park?
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine we could. But
Yeah,
it
I don't
is
know what
used.
I don't know what
It's-
the utilization is of it.
It's used quite a bit. It's surprising.
Could you, I would like to see the officers of the board come in, and we could ask these questions to them. We hardly ever see them. See if they could come in and we could ask them, see if there's any financial help or anything. And then we could find these things out. I think, I don't know why we couldn't close it if we decide for some reason, and water's impure would be a start. Financially, it can't be funded. Everybody's wanting a fund, we put it in, money out of there, and we can't do that. I think Don had a good comment about that system.
Scott, I'm sorry, you gave us 3 options, I only caught 2.
One option would be
Cap
allow
it.
the well to be used for watering the lawn or
Oh,
filling the existing pond,
okay.
putting new well in or capping the existing one so there is no water supply at all for anything.
We can use it for non,
Consumption.
Contact.
Yeah, contact and consumption.
I'll get a hold of Todd Nichols, he's the president of the association.
Do you want to do that then?
Unless, are you in contact with him? Otherwise, I
I'm
can
not in
do it.
contact with Todd, but I can
You see
contact
it
them and
all?
set it up, and
He's the president of the association right now.
if you want him to call me, we can set up the meeting time and all that stuff.
Great. Okay.
Can we possibly incorporate Thorn Creek Township trustee too, to see if he has any recreation fund money?
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay.
There's one other item I mentioned to the chairman. Mr. Sutton called me on the possibility out there, and I told him you were going to be here, so.
I talked to him in the back, said I'd speak to that. Him and at least a dozen neighbors have filed a complaint in our office about junk and trash on a property in 400 South that we have been involved with previously. And I sent an order to that individual to have that cleaned up in 30 days. That order did refused to claim the certified letter, got it back today. I've already sent an email with that paperwork to Lindsay Grossnickel, who is the health department attorney. Started about 10 days ago, but she went on vacation, got back today. So she'll be looking at the paperwork today. My request to her will be to file an injunction so that we can get a hearing for the judge and get an order, then to come back to the commissioners and ask for an excavator to be hired or some kind of contractor to clean that mess up.
And along with that, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Sutton asked if he would have an opportunity to speak. Would that be okay
Oh, sure.
with you, Don?
Mr. Sutton?
Sure.
Bob, do you?
Yeah, I appreciate the work Scott is doing on this. He's been real helpful. Unfortunately, this is the second time that a complaint has been filed. The first one is in July 2006. And the only problem I see with your ordinance is when a complaint is filed, everything has gone through, and Scott went out in 2006, did everything he was supposed to do. But the day after, he told the property owner everything was up to whatever. The next day, things started coming in again. And a year later, it was worse than when it started. And I mentioned something to Scott a year or two after this, and he said, well, you know, he met all the specifications and has to be another complaint filed before anything can be done. To me, it seems like if someone complaint's been filed against and action's been taken, they shouldn't be able to come in and start the same thing all over again. But like I said, it's part of your ordinance, and I don't know if this can be worked out or not, but it's a problem, and it's further now, things moving on, and sound like something's going to be taken care of. Also, I got a signature, actually it's 22 people, Scott, that have signed, and this is virtually 100% of the whole neighborhood. He operates a business that's called ASAP Preservations LLC. And what he does, he cleans up repossessed homes for banks, takes that junk, brings it out to this 4 or 5 acres and stores it there. He also cleans up debris from contractors, brings that out there. Scott's warning about burning. burns insulation, plastic, shingles, whatever. The stack of lumber out there now is probably as tall as the ceiling here, maybe 30, 40 feet long. I'm sure, and plus he burns at night, which is also in violation.
Has the fire department ever been called to put it out?
Okay, the fire department was called, she mentioned that, just last Saturday. Because he was, he doesn't live there now either. The house should be condemned. There's no utilities to the house. He hasn't lived in it in over a year. He lives in Fort Wayne, still cleans up stuff and brings it to the property here in the county. The fire department was called Saturday. By the time they got out there, whatever he was burning, he left before they got there. They did go back and look, and they said all they could see was a bunch of ashes and things, but brought something in a van, whatever, you know, who knows, burned it, then he gone. The house has siding that's coming off, 204s are exposed, windows are broken, windows are boarded up, the porch is about to fall in, grass is this high, that's in the front yard. The back, who knows? List of things, some of the things you can see, there's a boat, junk boat, 15 junk vehicles, a junk travel trailer, a semi-trailer with no cab on it, all types of metal machinery.
What other type of ordinance do we, anything at all the county has? It seems to me, if he does, last time he moved it under roof, if I remember right.
Right, you
But
build a
now-
barn and then that barn collapsed.
I was just going to mention that too.
Yeah, but now it seems to me that we gotta go with a stiffer,
With the existing junk and trash ordinance, will get us to get an injunction so that we can hire a contractor. Mr. Sutton has filed a complaint with the building department, whether they have already filed that order or not, but they will be coming to you with the order about condemning that structure and tearing it down simply because it does not have electricity to it. I've already written a letter of uninhabitable structure as far as not having electricity or proper sewage disposal, things like that. So that house cannot be lived in until my order refixed, but the building department will be proceeding for demolition, I do believe.
would you move that along and see if we could have that on our agenda for the 16th?
The building department, I will try, I'm not in charge of them, but yeah.
Well, I know, but mention it, because I'd like to get this taken care of before winter sets in. When winter sets in, you know you're not gonna get anything, but he has enough time now to decide what he wants to
Yeah, I'll
do.
talk to Dave today and see where they're at and find
Thank
that.
you. Get that on our docket.
I'd like to respond to Mr. Sutton's question or comment, whichever it was, about it happened again. I'm not sure how you phrased it. We took care of it once,
Oh,
and the next day it started again.
right.
My preference, Mr. Sutton, is that this junk and trash ordinance remain complaint driven. Not to have him driving around and checking. If he gets a complaint, he deals with it. And so I don't really want to change the ordinance very badly to go to some automatic renewal. We're gonna go out and check it every 2 weeks or.
No, I wasn't referring to that.
Okay,
yet,
okay.
And I
I
understand that
misunderstood.
he can't be driving
Yeah, misunderstood.
all around doing that, but
It
there's a
seems,
real fine line point there that a person
Absolutely.
gets across that, and people know how to play the game on that, and that's where you as commissioners have to, you know,
yeah.
Watch that.
Overall, I think Scott's done a tremendous job on this trash and junk ordinance. And,
No, that's-
sometimes we have success stories. We just had one around Cherubusco a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, that people just cleaned the place up, you know, and it'll stay
Right.
that way. And sometimes these people just don't care.
Right.
I don't know what it takes to get their attention.
no.
Usually
yeah.
dollars, I guess.
Yeah, right.
No, that's that.
Well, we'll work on it.
Yeah, it sounded like you're doing a real good job on it, like I said,
Well, we appreciate your, all the people filing these complaints. It makes our job a lot easier. that
right,
way.
yeah.
So, thank you very
Okay.
much for,
Thank you, Mr.
for
Sutton.
doing that. We
We
appreciate
appreciate
that.
The only other thing that kind of could look at, I brought this to commissioners about 10 years ago before any of you were here, but possibly adopting a burning ordinance in the county. I know the existing state law is preferred by IDEM, and I can send a property owner a warning, and then send that information to IDEM, and then it happens again, they come up and they'll look at it, give them a warning letter about finding and things like that. There are counties that do have burning ordinances, just like the city would, that if they burned anything besides natural wood and vegetation, as the state law says, then we could fine them. I don't know if you ever wanted to consider that, that'd be something we could do. I do get quite a few burning.
Are you willing to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day?
I sometimes see things on the weekends where I send a letter to somebody when I know
No,
they're
I'm
burning.
just saying though that, I think we have a burning ordinance, and I think we should
State law?
probably, my vote would be we stick with the one that the
Fine.
state's provided. So.
Other than that, there's nothing else I could do more than what I've done on that property right now. Just put it on the court.
No, yeah, just keep doing that, that's good, that's good.
All right, thanks.
Thanks,
for
Scott.
coming.
Okay, Alan,